All right, so St. Augustine's famous Nights of Lights is twinkling strong. I mean, it's definitely, the parking garage has been full a ton of times, even with this big increase. So, in fact, the city commissioners they held a meeting to check on how things were going yesterday, and there was a big ask for extending the Nights of Lights to kind of steward some of these local businesses. Am I saying that correct?
You are. The VCB, which is our St. Johns County Visitors and Convention Bureau, some people from the county, some people from the St. Augustine Business Coalition, they all asked the city commission to extend the lights through the end of January.
But wait, weren't these the same people that wanted it shortened?
No.
Okay, that's a good point, though.
About 100 and so people came together in May to a city commission meeting, and most were business owners. They came to the city commission and explained why they wanted Nights of Lights to remain till the end of January. And it's really to help support their businesses. All these local business owners also pay residents to work for them. They employ people who live here. And obviously the cost of living has gone up. It's, housing is not cheap. So the commission did not vote in the favor of the business owners. They shortened it to January 11th.
Why do you think that is? That's the question that's been swirling in my head. Like, why did we shorten it?
They, for some reason, thought that would help with the event and the traffic congestion, but it doesn't, because we have yet to see the real traffic congestion this year.
Right.
It's going to happen the weekend before Christmas and all the way through New Year's Day.
Right.
That's when
the traffic gets really crazy.
I mean, but we're hearing a lot of feedback from vendors and merchants, especially, that their numbers really are not that great right now.
The numbers are down this year. Now, some of the things they've done is obviously raise the price in the garage. That is to deter people from paying for parking in the garage and ride the free satellite lots and shuttles. I do think it's going to be a learning curve. I think it's going to take several years for people to realize.
That's what Joy said.
Oh, there are free satellite lots and free shuttles into town, but it does take, a moment to realize
I noticed that when we talked to Joy Andrews last week,
Yes.
which is our county administrator, and she really leaned into, we're still on that learning curve.
We're on
and
the
at
learning
first I
curve.
kind of balked when she said that. I was like, what? We're still, and she was right.
Yeah.
She's right, because we still are learning how this is all going to flow and go.
But one of the things the city also did was put these really expensive fees to park in neighborhoods. I mean, obviously no one wants their neighborhood parked in, right? Because that happened last year and people got blocked in. You're trying to get out of your house.
You gotta
There's
go to
someone
work.
parked there. However, it is so extensive here in Uptown that the Uptown merchants feel like their business is being affected. It is, because
You can't park anywhere over there.
also the shuttles
Don't stop.
do not stop in Uptown. They go all the way around from the lots on US 1.
Right.
So they're going to the parking garage on West Castillo from US 1. They're not going
They're completely
down
cutting out the chunk
of San Marco,
Right.
which has 45 plus businesses. So there's that situation as well. But then there are locals who want to come see the lights in January when it's not as crazy, and they still want to support their favorite restaurants and their favorite businesses. So there's so many different factors going on.
And all they have to do is leave the lights on.
And all they have to do is leave the lights on. And what I'm understanding is there is a code. There's a code that the city is going by, that the lights on private businesses are not supposed to be turned on past the designated date, which is January 11th. That's the situation. I believe.
Because I was going to ask you, why doesn't Uptown just do their own thing?
From talking to business owners, one of them here in Uptown, they want to leave their lights on through the end of January. The situation is the city saying, well, it's not to code.
Really?
So it's been mentioned that they want to
I feel like
start.
if it's a business, they should have the right to do whatever they
They're
want
a
to do.
private business, and I do know that some are known for leaving their lights on however long they want, sometimes during the middle of the year.
So
What do they get now? When they choose to do that for their own business, do they get fined by the city, or how does that work?
The situation is that there might be fined.
Okay.
And That is...
They're big on fining this year. Obviously, parking's $100 fine.
Yeah, the $100 parking fee, all of that. But some businesses want to petition, and they want the county on their side and the VCB on their side, and other organizations of businesses, like there are merchant associations in different sectors of town, to all be on this and go to the city and appeal that vote, because they did vote against it. The
that happened
commission,
yesterday.
Monday evening, they voted against extending Nights of Light. So the businesses now are saying, let's come together and appeal that.
They also, I'm getting a message here, they agreed to move the large signs and make the commercial spots in the neighborhood and open it to public till about 5 p.m.
Okay.
And then it's a residential pass only. Have you heard any rumblings of that? Because I know parking was a big deal on this whole situation, because they have staff, they have the owners, they have, wasn't it supposed to, like, there were supposed to be allotted some spaces?
There are some allotted spaces that employees can pay for to park in certain areas throughout the season, but they weren't guaranteed a parking spot if it was full at certain times, which is probably after 5 p.m.
Well, the whole argument, too, is Airbnbs are also businesses, which they're getting 4 spots per Airbnb, right? That seems kind of excessive, if you want my opinion. I just think maybe 2 or 1. Or
Right.
So in a way, like, this is where my brain is kind of going. If you're a small business like uptown or, downtown, and they're cutting the lights off, before, and your business is busy and you need to hire more people, well, you can't now because you're not bringing in the income. So that's a whole nother situation there. I don't know that there is a perfect answer.
There's not a perfect answer.
And I think it's going to take time.
Yes, it is going to take time. The issue with it just extending the lights to a later date in January is that's what's been done for 30 years. So
Why
now
are we
in the
changing it?
32nd year, it's a full 2.5, 3 weeks ahead. So even people coming into town that don't know that at all, they were expecting the lights to be on.
So the argument is Irving Cass, we love him dearly. Susan Phillips, love her too. And County Commissioner Ann Taylor had argued that the 2 extra weeks would help offset the slow winter sales and rising costs.
Right.
And all they have to do is just leave the lights on.
Leave the lights on.
Is it that big of a deal?
Yeah,
Really?
that's a really good question.
Like,
That's a really good question.
Especially since all these privately owned businesses, hotels, restaurants, anything that
Little
has
stores.
lights on it, stores, they benefit from that. They're paying their own electric bills for those lights.
I mean, it's still a sluggish month in January. Let's be real. It's not an easy thing to do to be able to offset that. And all they have to do is just leave those lights on just for a little bit so that they can still get that local touch. Is that what they're saying?
That's what they're saying. They're even saying the city does not have to maintain those free satellite lots and free shuttles beyond their January 11th date. We know that's an expense. That doesn't have to happen. Just leave the lights on.
So now let me present this idea and this concept, right? So if these business owners, right, have to rent lots or spaces for their employees, and then employees have to pay, or the employee has to pay for parking, what's the point in working downtown or working in uptown?
That's true.
That's the problem. It is hard for some of these business owners.
You're making it even harder. And then people who want to look for jobs. I saw a post the other day. Somebody was asking, like, I'm trying to find a seasonal job. She's a teacher. And so the fact that she has to find extra work is beyond me being a teacher.
I mean,
that's a whole other different.
That's a whole other. Don't get me started. My blood pressure already.
But what I'm saying is, the comments were like, "Don't do it. You're gonna have to pay to park it." So now these employees are gonna have to pay to go to work.
That is the thing.
That's frustrating.
And some of these shops that aren't restaurants where their employees don't get tips, which is extra income, they cannot pay their employees even minimum wage. They have to pay them more
higher
than
to
minimum
cover the
wage
cost.
to cover the cost of parking.
And then that eliminates them for bringing new employees on and creating more jobs. I just don't understand what the problem is. You can't leave them on for 2 additional weeks. We've done it for 30 years?
30 years, 31 years.
But if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Leave it alone.
Renee, let me ask you this question too. How come Uptown doesn't have any legislation, any kind of like representation.
Right. Well, they do have a merchants association.
What's happening there? Because I'm not seeing much. Like I'm sure there's a beautiful person behind it, but
they're working behind the scenes. It's several business owners. They're working behind the scenes
because they're really getting cut out from a lot of this. That's why I'm looking at my friends who have shops.
Right. They have shops. They're trying their best also to promote it and say we're here. And I do hope that the city sees that as well.
Okay.
They need to realize that it's more than just the small downtown district.
So here's another point, okay? So with Uptown specifically, with the Airbnbs, right? So let's think about how many of these Airbnb owners, they get 4 passes. How many of these Airbnb owners really live in town and are locals?
Yeah, I mean,
not many of them.
There are some that are, there are some that aren't. So that's the thing. Like, there's a balance, and we got to figure it out. The city needs to help.
But I think everyone needs to listen.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem when you create such a divide between the people and the ones making the decisions, and you put it up to vote, but the vote doesn't really count.
Well, we'll remember that in election season when that's coming up. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's kind of the truth.
No, it is the truth.
You're laying the precedents down for what people are going to vote for.
It's the truth. Everybody here that lives here, I'm one of them, in this downtown city quarter and can vote.
Yeah, you're close to where we are right now.
You got to remember who to vote for and who not to vote for. And also find out about the new candidates that are running and talk to them.
So then I need to ask you this, because it is true and it is public record that City Manager David Burcham cited logistical and financial hurdles like the service contract and end dates and additional staffing needs and the uncertainty around added expenses if they were to extend this 2-week thing. What is the solution there if it's going, well, it's true. It's going to cost money if you leave the lights on.
Yeah,
and it's going to cost staff time.
Still have extra trash pickup, extra bathroom, all of that extra.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But what
there
I'm seeing
is a cost. However, don't do the shuttles and satellite lights. There are ways to cut back on the cost.
But if they were able to figure it out for 30 years, what I don't understand.
Well,
that's my biggest question.
Let me explain it to you.
They added new things
They
this
added
year.
and more people.
Yeah.
So there has been an increase every single year congruently with more people. And so that's the response that we have now with the barricades, with the bathrooms and things. So I see what Burcham is saying, but I also see that the county and Taylor was there, and VCB and are supporting efforts.
Right.
So why can't they all get together and rally around it if they really did care about downtown local businesses?
Right.
I almost feel like they are just completely brushed aside, and it's not a big deal. Oh, let them cry about it. We did hear some negativity on that. I mean, I do want to try to be as positive as possible, but it's the truth.
There are some things that can be removed, like there are porta potties extra right now for the crowds. Those huge crowds aren't going to be here at the end of January. You can remove those. There are certain things that can be removed that you don't have to pay for to leave the lights on.
Well, here's another point. Okay, and I feel like this point gets overlooked, and I wish the powers that be would pay attention more. I bartended for a long time in St. Augustine, okay? So now say I have to pay to park, so there goes some of my tips. Not only that, but I have to walk with cash, because tips are cash. I have to walk with cash on hand, sometimes large amounts, through downtown to the other side to my parking space for my car. And granted, there is extra security measures, but police officers can't be everywhere and everyone. So are we not thinking about, because downtown, a lot of them are restaurant workers that have the cash.
Well, what you just said there is exactly what David Burcham is afraid of.
That's what he's referring to. There
he's saying that's going to cost so much money.
Yeah, there's extra police.
So there were other commissioners on there that were concerned about the problem. I mean, we're talking a lot about businesses, but there's also residents that we have to talk about too. There's some side of the commissioners that were concerned that the residents, they made these promises to the residents that it was going to be over January 11th, and then they would have to go back on that promise. Would that mean they would have to vet all those locals residents again?
I mean, how many residents spoke at that meeting in May?
Thank
about
you very
2 or 3
much.
of them,
Thank
and then
you for saying that.
business owners.
You can't get upset upset that your voice isn't heard if you don't go to the damn meetings and speak up.
You also know that when you move in uptown or downtown, that this has been happening the entire time. And I would like to know what residents have been here for over 30 years that were actually at that meeting.
Correct. Yeah. They're also saying that there's going to be some traffic congestion and quality of life that will be affected during these peak times.
Wait.
And
That's a daily thing when you buy a house down here.
that is the truth.
Well,
That's it.
yeah. I mean, isn't that like
Yeah.
if you're going to buy a house downtown or in surrounding downtown areas,
You
like
know
that's
that.
part of
You
the drill.
get ready for it. I lived in New York for
Lincolnville,
many
yeah.
years, and
Yeah.
I knew the cadence of my street. I knew
You absolutely know.
And
Yeah.
that's what city living is all about. Now,
It
I'm
is.
also seeing some business owners ranting in the blogs about how we've commercialized this way too much in Nights of Lights.
Yeah, but-
and how we've made now we used to be compared to Savannah and Charleston,
Wait.
and now we're more of a Daytona, which I found that very
here's the
insulting.
thing. On the History Channel, I've watched it myself, and in Travel Magazine, there's reporters that travel and cover Christmas things, whatever, holiday things. And it was on a show on the History Channel. I'm watching it. And then it was also in Travel Magazine for the top 5 places to go,
Right.
holiday destinations. So it's nationally getting attention.
Yes.
So I think that's the whole thing, like extend it for 2 more weeks. I know it's going to cost more money, but like it's going to bring in more money. It's going to give more opportunity for these businesses to make more money and the employees and the people who live in this town to make more money.
And guess what? There are still arts and cultural events happening during these periods of time, too.
Correct.
It's not just these local businesses and restaurants who are doing things. We have the Nutcracker Ballet in a couple weeks. We already mentioned
The holiday pops.
Emma Concerts has holiday pops, but Emma Concerts also has 2 other concerts in January 17th and
Important.
January 24th. We have the St. Augustine Film Festival, who brings all of these filmmakers to
Keep the
town.
lights on for all of that.
Keep the lights on for all of
It
these
only makes
amazing
sense.
events.
Yeah.
And people expect it anyway because
That's how
the
it's
lights
been.
have been on for 30 years when they were buying tickets to these events. And it's just extra things for people to do.
So some of the
in town.
naysaying commissioners said that business owners need to explore alternative ways to boost winter revenue.
Come on.
And I
Well-
feel like they should have, back in May, if giving them these alternative ways, if they were going to be so staunch on
Exactly.
this.
And one alternative way that we're doing this is really by promoting these businesses. And that's what I'm trying to do on my pages is promote all of these businesses, especially in Uptown and North City, that people don't realize, oh, these businesses are here. They're here year round, not just in the winter. Let's shop local. Let's do these,
Right.
support
I mean, if
these
I was a
business
commissioner
owners.
right now and I'm hearing this, or I'm actually listening to those beautiful 100 people that came up and said, hey, this is an issue, I would definitely be concerned on how the light is being shined from uptown to downtown. And yeah, I really kind of see uptown kind of superseding and being its own little island up there because literally they've got no support. Like zero, and they're part of this community, and that's what I think it's disheartening to see that they really don't have a chance to shine. They don't even have a chance to even have their own lights on it. Some of this with the regulations. So
Right.
how can you get innovative with your holiday revenue? That's just, I feel like that was an insult. I really do. It's
Yeah,
like,
like,
good
okay,
luck,
well,
get
figure it
innovative.
out.
Yeah, figure it out. Good luck. Well,
You know?
they moved there for a reason, right? So how do we get proactive on this?
Yeah,
how
what can we do?
How can the voice of the people rally, and how can we get them to listen, like Mel said?
Yeah, well, all the businesses are coming together, so they just need to, go to the meetings,
Yeah.
email the county, email the city, and also promote.
Yeah.
Like promote that
Absolutely.
they're a destination within the destination.
Yeah.
Uptown
Let's
is
just
a
say that they're
destination.
not going to do that. So how can we rally to fix it? Like, do we have to just create our own thing? Like, what do we do here, Renee? You've seen this for years.
Yeah, we just have to keep pushing. And
Okay.
I do think Uptown is doing that. They
Yeah.
have a great merchant association. They're trying. Here we are talking about them.
They're all
So-
working. I will say, Uptown, the business owners, they really do work
They're
together and
incredible
support each
people
other.
with such creative minds, and like they just want an opportunity to shine. And why take that away from them? I just don't understand because it really was the door was really shut on them, like on their face.
Yeah. And guess what? even though some of them are new, some of these merchants have been here for a very long time. And San Marco really has always been a business district. I mean,
Absolutely.
You know, where Doses, that used to be a car dealership.
I remember that.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, this has always been a business district. So they just have to keep highlighting, promoting, but they do need the city and the county on their side to promote them as well.
Yeah. I really hope that they get their flowers because they deserve it.
They need the support.
Yeah.
There's gotta, and I'm telling you, you guys, I always am a firm believer in everything always works out. And I really do think there is a solution here, but I think it's gotta, all sides have to agree. And I just feel like with Uptown specifically, I feel like the business owners are being put in a really difficult situation, but it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't. And
I don't think so.
I will say Old Town Trolley is in Uptown.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they do support all these locals.
Absolutely.
You know, with they have stops, they talk about Uptown, things like that. If we have more of that, businesses talking about each other
That's
and
what we gotta do.
supporting
Yeah.
one another.
It's like a Care Bear stare moment. Honestly,
Right.
yeah, we
Yeah.
got to rally together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Renee, this is a very good conversation. Thank you for coming on and talking about all this because I have so many great friends out there that I got to support them this holiday season. And I want them to keep I don't want to see out of business signs.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen.
That is the truth. We want all our businesses, all our buildings filled with business owners.
Yes.
And we want the business owners, obviously, are supporting our community by employing residents.
So if
mean,
I was
it's-
a newer local
there we
business,
go.
like you just said, what's a good way for them to contact somebody that maybe they want to get some information? Maybe they've been cut out of all of these conversations. What's a good rally? Who should they be talking to?
Well, I mean, there is a merchants association here in Uptown.
Perfect.
Not sure that the North City businesses can be included.
And we
but
have
just-
Elizabeth Posnack in
and
comments right now.
Spencer
So yeah.
Abbott, yeah.
Liz over
Reach
at Spencer's,
out
yeah.
to your neighbor businesses and talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, I think all of them stay
Walk in their
connected.
doors.
Go in their doors.
Yeah.
Buy stuff.
Buy something
Yeah.
from them. That is the one thing when I was walking around and just doing some photos to do my big Uptown list on my pages. All of the business owners love each other. They love
They
all
really
the
do.
businesses around
Yep.
them,
This
and
is
they're
why,
getting
yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
So support them. Go
Definitely.
in, buy something.
I
from
love,
them.
let me tell you, I'd rather, I'd rather walk
hashtag-
around Uptown than downtown.
And hashtag
I love
leave the
all
lights on.
areas.
Definitely.
Yeah, but leave the lights on.
Yeah,
Support your
lights
local
on.
businesses. Yeah.
It's only 2 more weeks.
Such a great chat. Thank you so much, Renee, for
Thank
coming
you,
to the
guys.
studio.
Renee.
We're going to pivot over to old